Hello Internet, welcome to a tasting of this week's new coffee release, which is a natural process Arara varietal from Brazil. As usual, I will describe how I've roasted the coffee, what I think the flavour profile is, and how I believe you could brew this coffee at home. If you're new here, my name is James. I own a coffee roasting company called The Blending Room based in Hull, East Yorkshire. If you're not new here, welcome back. Now let's dig straight into the roast profiles. So as usual, I have done 3 batches. Each had a starting weight of 12 kilos, which represents 80% of the total load mass of our Loring S15 Falcon. I wanted to pursue balance within the cup, and because this is a relatively low altitude, natural processed coffee, I chose a target roast time of around 9.5 minutes. I also chose a target post first crack development time of around 1:35. That is a time where I feel comfortable at this point that I'm getting good development and presenting a coffee in what we would describe as an omni brew style. So that is where there is one roast profile that can be brewed as filter or espresso or any other brew derivative therein, rather than some people who may choose a specific, more aggressive filter profile than those that may do an espresso profile. Anyhow, you'll note through the 3 profiles that you can see on the screen now that there was a pretty tight variance in time of somewhere around 5 seconds. Those slight differences were to understand whether a touch longer or a touch shorter profile would do better come the next time that I roast this coffee. You'll also note that the post first crack development time is around 1:35 as per design, and that the total end temperature variance is about 0.3 degrees Celsius, which I would describe as a fairly tight closing temperature to target. Now I've talked about the roast profiles, let's dig into the aroma and the flavour of the coffee. So when I assess aroma, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to begin a picture of what the overall olfactory experience is going to be. And aroma is very, very important to food products, especially with coffee. So let's dig our nose in and see what it smells like. I get lots of brown sugar sweetness. There is a perceived amount of fruit, a tickle of fruit, and then this, like, I want to say like a roasted hazelnut too. So I wonder if those transfer into the cup. Let's have a taste. Right, that absolutely does. Coupled with a beautifully well balanced and well presented amount of acidity. We've used red currant and tangerine as the flavour descriptors for the fruit and the acid complex, and that's definitely present within the cup. The acidity isn't spiky or sharp, it's just very polite within this cup. Polite because it is well supported by texture. There's voluminous texture on the palate, it's really lovely and syrupy, and obviously with this finish, there's the classic chocolate finish that you get from natural processed coffees from Brazil, but you also get brown sugar, maple, those sorts of things as well. It's really, really delightful. Okay, so how do we brew it? This today is a filter brew. I love filter brewed coffee. It allows lots of dilution and it allows your palate to perceive all of those wonderful flavor compounds that are within specialty coffee. I feel very strongly that this would do well as an espresso. There is enough acidity and enough character in the cup to cut through milk, to present itself as a bona fide specialty coffee from Brazil. But there is also enough texture to add that classic body and weight, and that is what I feel should be your pursuit within espresso-based drinks. Sweetness, tickles of acidity, and texture. How about other methods? Absolutely, this would work well in full immersion. Full immersion being your cafetiere, and to some degree, brew apparatus such as the Clever Dripper. That is where you'll use a touch of immersion and some filtration through a filter paper. This would also work well in your classic stovetop mocha pot, and for those who travel often or who just enjoy it, your AeroPress as well. So to recap, This is a natural processed Arara varietal, which is a hybridized varietal from Brazil. It is going to be a really versatile coffee for all methods of brewing. I've roasted it in an omni approach, so that is specifically designed for every method of brewing. It presents some tangerine, red currant, maple syrup, some roasted hazelnut on the nose, and a classic milk chocolate on the finish as well. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I do hope that they're helpful, and I do hope that it gives you some indication about how to brew our coffee. Anyway, you enjoy.